Welcome into Bearcat Update. I'm your host, Max Moore, and we are back after a week-long break for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving break is full of lovely family small talk, talking to old high school friends that, let's be honest, you never really liked in the first place, and my favorite thing, overeating. All that turkey, mashed potato. I digress. While most of us had a relaxing break, Northwest Missouri State and Maryville High School sports were busy practicing and competing. One Maryville team even competed for a state championship. Down in Columbia, Missouri, the Spoof Hounds were in the Class 3 Show Me Bowl against the Mount Vernon Mountaineers. It was a beautiful day for football, and we got the highlights, so let's see how the Hounds fared in the championship game. Sundell's going to bring that flag in for the Spoof Hounds as he hopes to leave his mark in his final game before he heads off to North Dakota State. Here's Eli Dallas rushing big-time yards. Going to make a guy miss there. Down to the 15-yard line. He's going to get the crowd pumped up as we're early in the first quarter. And guess who? Eli Dallas is going to score again from just about 6 yards out. Spoof Hounds up early in this contest. Missouri's going to get the juice flowing early as our man Kendall there, providing that juice box each and every game. Tyler Houchin from just a few yards out. Going to give another score for the Spoof Hounds, and they keep it rolling. The Mountaineers try to muster up some sort of offense, but it's swallowed up by a pack of Spoof Hounds. The fans were really loving that one. They were up early and often. And another score for the Spoof Hounds as they had the clock running in the second half. Their motto was finish it, and boy did they finish the Mountaineers early in the first half. As they won that game 47-9, Eli Dallas had over 140 yards rushing with 3 touchdowns and averaged 12 yards a carry. That's impressive, folks. Tyler Houchin added 129 yards and 1 touchdown with 7 yards per carry. And after the game, Coach Webb talked about the dominant running performance his team had.
Yeah, we like to run the football in Maryville. It's one of those things where these guys grow up as kids learning to run the football in youth football league, and it may not be the flashiest type of plays, but when you're playing at this time of year, and again, last week in semifinals with weather conditions, today was beautiful, but you got to be able to run the football, and we like to say when everybody knows you're going to run it, and then we can still run it, it really, helps us set a tempo and what we like to do and being physical up front of the line of scrimmage with our backs, and just can't say enough about when you run the football and everybody knows it takes a lot of courage and a lot of character to be able to do that.
We are now joined by Northwest Missourian reporter, overall great person, Lee Summit West Titan, Joseph Andrews, who has covered the Spoof Hounds all year. Joseph, how are you today?
I'm doing pretty good, Max.
I was there with you, but I wanted to get another perspective on what stood out to you most about this performance from the Spoof Hounds. I mean, they won 47-9 in the state title game.
I think it was their ability to really bounce back from that beginning. They were about to have that 3-and-out, and then roughing the kicker call, giving them another chance of set downs. Then Eli Dallas right there really just starts to spark, and then with that touchdown. And really from there, it was really just done from there. I mean, by the end of that first quarter, Eli Dallas had over 100 yards. The majority of his rushing yards came in that first quarter. And really just adding on the impact from Houchin right there, and also the big stops by the defense really helped on.
So now Maryville had 2 losses on the year. They lost to they lost to Smithville. They lost to Smithville and they lost to Chillicothe. Smithville obviously is a higher division opponent, so they're higher class. But Chillicothe's in their district, they're in their same league, I should say. But they lost to them early in the year. What changed between that early loss between now, where they're beating Mount Vernon 47-9?
I think one of the big things is that the guys talked about they really weren't playing as a team back then. They really hadn't found that thing that clicked, and that really gave them a wake-up call. Then they go in, and the next week they start to get that motivation back up. But then come the time of that Smithville loss, they just went back down. But they really said from that point on, it really just sparked, reaching that point in the regular season finale against St. Joseph Lafayette, just really driving them in. And really from that point on, they really carried it throughout the playoffs, beating Chillicothe once again to have that revenge, and then ending up winning the long road throughout the playoffs all the way to the state championship.
Now, I think you mentioned it, but what do you think was the turning point on the season? I know what my turning point of the season was, but what was yours?
I'd have to say that the real turning point that really led them to where they are today is that victory over St. Joseph Lafayette.
Right.
Really just overall what they did in that game really gave them that confidence that they can be a winning team, that they don't have to be a undefeated team to go out and win a state championship. And that's really one of the things that all the guys on the team really just reinforced to us as media throughout the entire playoffs. They came out and really capitalized off that in that state championship.
Well, and I think I've been here. I heard rumors before we did the broadcast of, Maryville's going to get smoked by Diego Bernard and those guys and Lafayette. And I thought, well, okay, I guess we're in for a long game. But turned out that was the game that we got to call, and that was ended up being the turning point of the season. So that was fun to watch, and it was fun to see the progress that they made throughout the rest of the season into the playoffs. Who are some of the guys that they're going to bring back next year? I remember Eli Dallas, correct, is coming back. Thank goodness for them. But who else is going to be coming back for the Spoof Hounds?
Also returning for the Spoof Hounds is, assuming they come back to the team next year, is Tyler Houchin. He actually is the offensive coordinator's son, so really a father-son role there in that. And then you also have Tay Oglesby. He was a sophomore this year, so he'll be adding in that really true upperclassman mentality to that next year. And really just from there, really just kind of adding in the missing pieces there. They graduated a whole bunch from the offensive line this year, a few from the defense. I think what really will be coming into this year, nobody really knew what to expect because they graduated so many seniors last year. So really, sitting right here with you right now, I can't predict it because, I mean, 6 weeks ago, I would have laughed at you if they said Maryville was going to be state champions.
Really had Maryville in the state championship, and it's just like with anything, at college football, high school football, they graduate so many guys. It's really hard to have that consistency. But I think if you have Eli Dallas and Houchin again coming back, where they had almost 300 yards combined rushing, that's a good combo to have, and I think you can stick them behind any offensive line. I think they do well. Yeah. Now these guys are very good athletes. They have some basketball players on this team. Who are some of those guys?
One that sticks to mind is actually Eli Dallas, as we talked about a whole bunch. And then Tay Oglesby is another big name. They both played for MoCam Basketball, which is a basketball league down in the KC area. Just kind of get your name out there.
Right.
And they both played through them throughout last summer. As the season gets on, I'm sure we'll start to see their talent really progress as well. But also there, you really mix in a lot of the other returning guys that will really kind of help spark. Like the football team, the basketball team lost a whole bunch of seniors. Most of the starting five will be newer faces this year. But I think once they find that spark, they'll be able to just keep on going forward.
So one last quick question. Do you think that momentum is going to carry on into the basketball season?
I think it might. Talking to the beat reporter that's going to be covering for the Missourian this year, he really mentioned that Coach Steckline is really emphasizing that revenge to kind of keep moving forward of the progression they've seen in the last couple of years.
All right, sounds good. Joe, I thank you for coming on. And that's all the time we have on Coach's Corner. And be sure to stay tuned for more Bearcat Update here on KNWT, Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. Max Moore here, and the basketball season is finally underway. The Northwest men's basketball team kicked off its season a couple of weeks ago, and one of their top prospects started his high school campaign this past weekend. Diego Bernard started his season with Lafayette High School, and he also signed his letter of intent to join the Bearcats next season. Our reporter Hannah Ryan caught up with Bernard to see how he celebrated his signing day. Hannah?
St. Joseph Lafayette senior Diego Bernard will remain with green in his blood as he signed his letter of intent to continue his basketball career at Northwest Missouri State next season. Diego says it's the family atmosphere at Northwest that he wanted to be a part of.
Just the culture and how they treat their players there. They treat them as family, and I feel like I just want to be a part of the family again, and that's why I chose.
Diego is a multi-sport athlete with a love of competition. Lafayette head coach Ryan Nichols says that's what makes Diego such a special player.
I think one word to describe Diego is special. You know, he's just not a kid that you get very often at the high school level. A combination of athleticism, competitiveness, desire to win, and just a hard worker. Tough, hard-nosed kid, really just a special kid.
Diego was unable to be a part of Lafayette's season opening scrimmage as he is still recovering from a slight shoulder injury that occurred during his football district championship game. That does not stop him from being a leader and cheering on his team from the bench. Coach Nichols says that being selfless is what makes Diego the great player that he has become.
I think the ability to put the team before self. You know, he's not worried about stats. He's not worried about what it looks like. He wants to win. I mean, sometimes in practice, we'll put a pretty stacked team against his team and put him on the other team, and he'll find a way to win. He grinds it out. He understands the game. He's a smart player. He's an athletic player. He just makes plays that other guys can't make.
Diego is excited to join the reigning national championship team here at Northwest and will continue wearing green proudly. For Bearcat Update, I'm Hannah Ryan.
Thanks, Hannah. And let's check up on his future team. They were in action early last week in Kansas City as they took on the Washburn Ichabods at Municipal Auditorium. It's a great way for them to get ready for the MIAA tournament, which will be played at the same venue come late spring. And we have the highlights here as Justin Pitts looks to get things going early for the Bearcats as they have to take on the high-flying Washburn Ichabods. But first, here's Brett Doherty down low, giving the Bearcats an early lead. But on the other end of the floor, number 13, Tyus Martin, is going to go all the way down, kick it out, three-pointer, good by number 31, Clayton Holmberg. Chris Endow had a good day early on. He shot that three and nailed it, giving the Bearcats again another lead. And they would head into halftime with a good lead, but the Washburn Ichabods would come back after fighting off a good, strong flurry by the Bearcats. There's Randall Smith getting things going, and Randall Smith is going to assist number 13, Tyus Martin, again for a big three ball, getting them back into this. But on the other end, Justin Pitts finally came back to his superhuman form, dropping a total of 22 points on the night, finally finding a groove, and he iced this game with that free throw as the Bearcats moved to 5-0 on the year. They won that game 86-78. Pitts added 9 assists to his 22 points, and Endow had 19 overall points with 7 rebounds. And Coach McCollum talked after the game on how hard it is to keep Justin Pitts off the scoreboard for 2 whole halves.
You know, it's hard to guard him for a whole game because of the concentration it requires. And so then we start with different actions, different guys setting screens. We slip them, we twist them, do so many different things it becomes difficult to where he'll get free eventually. The amount of shooters that we have out there, too, it makes it really difficult. And, you know, our offense really isn't the problem right now. It's just, again, continuing to get better defensively.
And we're going to take another break, but stay tuned. We have more basketball for you here on Bearcat Update. And welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Max Moore, and we continue the program with more basketball. The Northwest women's basketball team was in action last week against Rockhurst University. They are trying to bounce back following a tough game against Maryville University. So, let's see how the Cats did this past week. As the Cats are struggling so far early on the year with only 1 win, they're going to try and add another win against a pretty tough opponent in Rockhurst University. We start things with the hometown girl down in St. Joseph, Jalen Haggard, with a nice little shot there. She's been a bright light for the Bearcats so far early this season. Mallory McConkey is going to drive it down low and try to figure out what she's going to do. Nice little pump fake and a little kiss off the glass. Nice little fundamental play by her. And down on the other end again, here's a 3 ball by Stillman. Drains it. That would be her only points of the game. And here's Jalen Haggard again dishing it out over to Tapata. Tapata drives it down to the hole and right off the square. Gives the Bearcats some more points. And here's Jalen Haggard again, finishing it off with a 3-pointer. but the Bearcats would eventually fall to Rockhurst 47-62, and then they would fall to University of St. Mary in Kansas 74-81. And to jump back to the men's side, they were in action Saturday against Missouri Valley College. They are an NAIA team, but they still could pose a tough challenge for the Bearcats. And we have the highlights from that game as well, so let's see how the team did following their tough game against Washburn in Kansas City. We're going to get things started with Brett Doherty as we started the other highlights. The nice down-low play give the Bearcats an early lead. Here he is again, finding a dish down to Joey with us. He is with us, folks. He is not against us. Another basket for the Cats. Pitts finding a place to go. They're cycling that ball around like it's nothing. 3-ball good by Pitts. He's a pretty good player, folks. Let me just tell you that much right now. And again, a lot of players got to play for the Bearcats as they were dominant against Missouri Valley College. There's Dre Starzl. And we keep it rolling here. Movement all over the place. They're looking pretty good starting out this season. There's Ryan Welty with another three. He had a Sports Illustrated article written about him and his fantastic three-point shooting, by the way. So if you ever want to get a chance to read something, read that. There's Justin Pitts again. He might have a Sports Illustrated article written about him by the time it's all said and done. Another 3-ball. The Cats were dominant in this game, folks. Let me just tell you right that. If you couldn't already tell, they were just overly dominant. And here's a nice play by Dre Starzl again, backing him down into the hole. And here's Chris Ebu and Dow with the slam, making Missouri Valley College just want to go home at this point. Another dominant performance by the Bearcats as they would win this game by score of 83-48. Northwest moved 6-0 on the year. Pitts had 21 points. He shot 8 from 12 from the field with only 4 assists. And Joey with us, he's not against us. 37% from the field with 10 points. He was the second leading scorer for the Bearcats. And we're going to take one final break, but be sure to stay tuned for more here on KNWT Channel 8. And we're back here on KNWT Channel 8. I'm Max Moore, and it's that time of year where we transition from the cross-country season to the indoor track and field season. You know, I've always loved the idea of indoor track and field. No weather, different events to keep up on, and shorter distances. Our reporter Michael Byland caught up with some of the athletes to see how they prepared for the upcoming season. Michael?
It's always a good time to go on a run, as Northwest men's and women's track teams get ready for the indoor season. Senior Emma Taylor tells us her goals.
For the season, my biggest goal is to get a good 4x4 relay team together. I've been on that for a few years here now, and I think that we have a good group of girls. We're really competitive with one another. We have a lot of options, and we left the season last year in a really good spot. So I'm ready to get that chemistry going again and get our handoffs down and really just put together a good quality team that can make it to nationals. My motivation is my teammates and my faith. I have so many good sisters in Christ on this team that are always building me up. You know, we've got a bigger purpose for why we do this, and I think that God put me in this program for a reason. It's challenged me mentally, spiritually, physically, and it's given me the best friends that I could ever ask for.
Running all year round could take a toll on your body. Brandon Phipps tells us his process.
I just have a kind of a training period here just to kind of get a little rest period, but also just get myself back into shape. It's just busy, it's year round, it's hard on the body. You gotta take care of yourself for sure. But it's great, you know, it's exactly what I wanna do. Running is such an amazing sport because you never really know how good you can be. So for me, my motivation is just striving just to find out how good can I get at this and what can I do to get better. Really the goal right now and my main goal is just consistent good training over break and into the indoor season and through the indoor season.
Phipps looks to improve on his record-breaking time in the 5K as Emma Taylor hopes to move up the top 10 list for the 600-meter run. The track and field teams start the season in early December. For Bearcat Update, I'm Michael Byland.
Thanks, Michael. Now to transition from a non-contact sport to an all-out contact sport, wrestling. Last season, the Maryville High School wrestling team had one state qualifier, and they hope to add more this season. Our reporter Boston Schneider caught up with the team to preview their season and to see how things have gone. Boston?
First-year head coach Cody Coster brings a new kind of energy to the Hounds wrestling team as a new chapter in Maryville wrestling begins.
I was assistant wrestling coach for Northwood Kensett for 2 years, and that was a lot of fun. I was like, this is what I want to do. You know, I'd love to have a head position job. And when I moved down here, you know, I just volunteered, worked a lot with the little kids, and came up and I applied, and now I'm excited to be here, excited to see the kids being excited to have me here. That's one good thing, is having the kids like you, as well as respect you. And I think it's a big thing, is if the relationship between the wrestlers and the coach is a good, tight-knit family bond, it's going to be a good wrestling team. We're going to hold together through the worst of times to the best of times.
Coster looks to increase wrestling enrollment as his tenure begins, and also looks for an improvement overall as a team.
I would like to see the program get up to the 20, 25 for numbers, and the best way to do that is get our name out there, let everybody know that the sport's open for anybody to try, and you know, that's kind of our big goal, to get more kids out. Second goal would be a team goal, and that would be to, you know, help improve everybody from last year. You know, we got one returning state qualifier. We'd like to see him improve and get up on the stand this year.
Coster makes every day an opportunity as the Hounds head coach by building bonds with his athletes and making the wrestling mat a home away from home.
It's a lot of one-on-one and team building experiences that you can have with certain individuals, and just to meet these certain individuals is awesome. You know, it's an experience that I'm going to take with me forever. You never forget a face. The part I love about it most is you never know what you're going to get every day. I mean, I can come in here and spend time with this person, next day spend time with this person, and you're going to get some backstories and everything else, and things are going to come together, and you're just going to see families build, and you know, who knows if the kids have a rough home life? Who knows what's happening in school? It's this environment right here that I can make it, you know, be awesome. This is what they look forward to every day, and that part in me, seeing kids leave here with smiles on their face, knowing they worked hard, knowing they accomplished something, I don't know, that's everything to me.
For Bearcat Update, I'm Boston Schneider.
Thanks, Boston. And that's all the time we have on the program. But before we go, let's see what's coming up in Bearcat sports. On Thursday, the men's and women's basketball teams are in action at home against Northeastern State University, as the women tip off at 5:30 and the men following thereafter. And then the basketball teams play again on Saturday at home against Central Oklahoma, starting with the women at 1:30 and then the men again just right after. And finally on Saturday, the track teams compete in the Bob Timmons Challenge in Lawrence, Kansas. And be sure to follow us on Twitter at BearcatUpdate_8. And if you miss the show Monday through Thursday on KNWT Channel 8, watch us on YouTube at KNWT. And remember, each day you either get better or you get worse. You never stay the same. Good night. Oh my goodness, I'm trapped in a box. I am trapped. Oh, no. Oh, okay, this is what you need to do. You need to press subscribe, or you just go to last week's show so I don't get trapped in this box. Please do it. Thank you.